For this exercise, we will use a towel or firm blanket to create a tiny pyramid to rest your pelvic floor on as we breathe. The two sitting bones will rest on either side of the top of the pyramid. If you are using a standard bath towel, begin by folding it in half and then bringing the folded edge into your hands. You'll lift the folded edge away from the floor, keeping about a third of the towel resting on the floor. You'll fold the blanket a couple of inches from the bottom edge and fold it back and forth 3 more times until you've created your pyramid at the top edge with about 2 to 3 inches width at the top. Make sure your folds are flat, as this will go directly under your pelvic floor. Let's see that again with the blanket. Begin with the blanket folded into a rectangle, making sure to flatten and remove any lumps or bumps so our folds are clean. From the long edge of the rectangle, you will lift the folded edge, keeping about a third of the blanket on the floor, and fold back and forth, each layer slightly more narrow than the last, until your top edge will fit nicely and comfortably between the two sitting bones. Take your time with the folding. Maybe pause and re-watch to make sure your folds are clean and will be supportive of your pelvic floor. There are 2 ways to practice this. The first is sitting in a chair with your mini pelvic bolster on the chair. As you place the bolster on the chair, make sure to keep the integrity of the pyramid just under where you will be seated, toward the edge of the chair. Then you'll stand in front of the chair, just as we practiced in the previous video. Gently lift your seat up and away as you come to sit on your sitting bones, resting your pelvic floor on the top of your pyramid. Checking in with your posture, take a moment to sense the towel or blanket under your seat and begin to deepen your breath. See if you can sense the pelvic floor. Gently press into the bolster as you inhale and lift away from the bolster as you exhale. Now begin activating the pelvic floor muscles to press down and out as you inhale and gather and lift on the exhales. You can continue the work seated on the chair, or you can try this on 2 stacked yoga blocks, placing the blanket or towel pyramid long ways on the widest orientation of the blocks as shown. Come down onto your knees and straddle the blocks and blanket, coming to a seat with a neutral pelvis. And take a moment to rock and tilt until you find a neutral seat. As you breathe in and the belly expands, feel the pelvic floor release and widen, pressing down into your pyramid. As you exhale and the belly draws in, gather the pelvic floor from the 4 bony landmarks at the base of the pelvis and lift the center of the pelvic floor, or perineum, straight up toward the crown of your head. I like to imagine there's a thread attached to the perineum, and as you exhale, that thread is gently pulled up, gathering the entire pelvic floor like a tissue at the center, lifting everything in and up. Take some time as you breathe and try to release and engage just one side of the pelvic floor at a time. Are you able to notice if the right or left side of your pelvic floor has a harder time letting go or engaging? Does the front of your pelvic floor feel more open than the back end of your pelvic floor? All of this information is and will be important to help you understand your body and what it may need more or less of as you continue to do this work. I encourage you to write down what you sense so that you can go back to it and have a log of your experience thus far.